FIFA just did something it absolutely did not want to do. They opened a formal investigation into Lionel Messi and Argentina. It follows the ugliest tensional in recent memory, where soccer's global governing body has been forced to launch a formal probe, and a massive chunk of the Argentina squad is currently staring down serious World Cup bans. Here is the question everyone is asking, and the one we likely will never get a straight answer to. Did FIFA actually have to do this? Or is this just a staged show? A calculated move to prove to a furious world that they do not actually favor Argentina? We might never know the truth. But one thing is certain: Argentina is in some seriously deep trouble right now. And the players caught in that brawl are in the worst spot of all, because cameras caught literally everything. The video evidence is brutal, and they got caught red-handed. Here is exactly how deep this mess actually goes. Let's look at the game itself first, just briefly, because we already broke down the actual play in another video. All you need to know is this: it was not a soccer match. It was a 2-hour physical assault with a scoreboard attached. We are talking about nearly 50 fouls, 5 yellow cards, and an Argentinian performance so incredibly cynical, so completely empty of real attacking spirit, that they finished the biggest match on earth without landing a single shot on target while letting Spain take 12. Their entire plan was to foul, disrupt, and drag Spain down into the mud. It all boiled over in stoppage time when Enzo Fernández went studs up into Spain's teenage defender, Pa Kubari, earning a second yellow card and getting sent off. Argentina had to play all 30 minutes of extra time with just 10 men, making Enzo the first player ejected from a World Cup final since 2010. That is the initial mess. But here is the exact moment a frustrating night spiraled into a disciplinary disaster. When the final whistle blew, several Argentine players collapsed to the grass, including Messi. Then, as Spain's squad ran out to celebrate, Nahuel Molina made a spectacularly foolish mistake. As Rodri jogged past, Molina seemed to land a quick punch right to the Spanish captain's midsection. That lit the fuse. Rodri spun around to confront him, and Molina aggressively squared up. Eric Garcia rushed over to protect his captain. Suddenly, Leandro Paredes, who was causing trouble all night, arrived and grabbed Garcia by the throat, shoving him backward. Then Paredes targeted Gavi, shoving him to the grass with a hand to his face, while Thiago Almada helped throw the Spaniard down. And it was not just the players. Assistant coach Roberto Ayala was caught on camera wrapping his hands around Garcia's neck and then seemingly striking Dani Olmo. Nearby, Nicolas Otamendi screamed right in Rodri's face, mocking him for complaining to the match officials. Give credit to Scaloni, he ran around desperately trying to drag his players away. On the BBC, Joe Hart called it absolutely disgusting behavior. Alan Shearer was even more direct, pointing out that Paredes threw multiple haymakers right at someone's face. Spain had just been crowned world champions, and Argentina's immediate reaction was to start a brawl. This is where FIFA's nightmare really kicks off, because they simply cannot ignore this. By Monday, FIFA officially confirmed a formal disciplinary investigation, appointing a dedicated ethics prosecutor under Article 36 of the Code to review the post-match chaos. That is the official process. In simple terms, an investigator will review the referee's official report, the match files, and every single video angle to decide the punishments. Molina, Paredes, Almada, and assistant coach Ayala are all facing potential bans. And that coach's name matters more than most realize. It is one thing for players to lose their minds in the heat of a loss, but when an assistant coach is filmed grabbing a player by the throat and swinging at another, that becomes a federation-level issue, not some simple heat-of-the-moment excuse. It drags the entire Argentine Football Association into the scandal. Paredes is the clear focus, the throat grab, the shove on Gavi, and a chokehold that triggers an automatic red card if proven. But the investigator has a long list of names from both the pitch and the bench to analyze. This is crucial because the inquiry will not just look at physical violence in a strict, narrow sense. Article 13 of the FIFA Code specifically covers offensive behavior and fair play. It targets anyone violating basic rules of decent conduct or bringing the game into disrepute. That rule allows FIFA to hand down global bans across all soccer competitions. So, this is not some minor slap on the wrist from a domestic league. This is world soccer's governing body deciding if members of the losing finalist team should be banned from the sport entirely. Add another charge to the list because there is one specific detail here that should make FIFA absolutely squirm. When Paredes grabbed Garcia by the throat, the referee's broadcast system briefly showed that Paredes had been red-carded. Then moments later, that red card quietly vanished. FIFA later confirmed no disciplinary action was taken on the field at the time. Let that sink in for a moment. In the middle of a massive brawl, a chokehold, which should mean an automatic red card, was flagged, and then just wiped away in real time. For anyone who spent this whole tournament watching how the whistle kept bending Argentina's way, that disappearing red card is almost too on the nose. Whether it was a technical glitch or something worse, the optics are absolutely terrible. The entire world watched an Argentine player grab an opponent's throat, saw a red card pop up, and then saw it vanish. Now, FIFA has to investigate the very thing its own officials seemingly refuse to punish on the spot. And just when you think one investigation is enough, the nightmare gets even worse. FIFA is running a second investigation into Argentina right now, following their semi-final win over England. Argentine players celebrated with a massive banner reading Las Malvinas son Argentinas. The Fallens are Argentine. It was smuggled into the Atlanta Stadium by supporters. FIFA strictly bans political statements from teams, and they have already started the process for potential disciplinary action. The players holding it, reportedly Christian Romero and Giovanni Lo Celso, along with Lisandro Martinez, could face bans themselves. Plus, the Argentine Football Association is facing a major fine. So, this is not just one isolated incident. It is two separate FIFA cases against one team, stacked on top of each other. The case file is getting thicker. But let us be completely fair here, because this story has real nuance, and we cannot ignore that. But before we talk fairness, there is one more detail the prosecutor will definitely be weighing. This is not a first offense for this squad. It is a clear pattern with receipts. Go back to that 2022 title, the Golden Glove gesture, and the Mbappe mockery. Then came their 2024 Copa America win, and Enzo Fernández, the same Enzo red-carded on Sunday, had to apologize publicly after streaming a team chant that the French Federation condemned as racist and discriminatory. That same year, goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez got suspended for 2 matches for offensive behavior. He repeated his infamous trophy celebration, and even swatted a camera with his gloves. The Fallens banner in 2014, the Fallens banner again in 2026. Individually, you can wave these off as heat of the moment, but stacked together, it looks like a habit, and bringing the game into disrepute is a charge that gets much heavier when investigators can point to a file this thick. Will these bans actually be long? Probably not. History tells us otherwise. When you examine how FIFA has handled Argentina in the past, the pattern gets uncomfortable. After the 2022 World Cup final, Argentina faced charges over their conduct. Emiliano Martinez did his lewd gesture with the trophy. They mocked Kylian Mbappe in the locker room, and the total punishment was just an $18,000 fine, roughly $23,000, with zero action against any individual player. That is pocket change to a major national federation. Even the banner controversy has a precedent. Argentina was fined about £20,000 for holding that exact same Fallens message before a 2014 friendly. Clearly, it did not stop them from repeating it. So, the honest take is that Argentina might escape with minor suspensions and a small fine. But make no mistake, FIFA does have teeth when they actually choose to bite. And there is the tension. This is the very same body that banned Spanish Federation President Luis Rubial from the sport for 3 years after that forced kiss at the Women's World Cup. This is the organization that suspended Luis Suarez for 4 months for biting an opponent at the 2014 World Cup. A ban so massive, it wiped out the first 9 league games of his domestic club season. Even UEFA suspended Spain's Alvaro Morata and Rodri for a match each over their Gibraltar is Spanish chant after the Euros. The precedents for harsh punishment are right there, but do not expect a verdict tomorrow. There is no official timeline for the prosecutor's final report. When UEFA ran a similar misconduct case recently, it took more than 2 months to hand down a 6-match ban. So this dark cloud hangs over both Argentina and FIFA for the foreseeable future. It is a total nightmare for soccer's governing body, not just the team. Now, the entire soccer world is watching to see if FIFA actually holds its most marketable, most globally adored squad, the team of Lionel Messi, the exact same way they treat everyone else, or if the punishment quietly shrinks to a tiny fine and a shrug. Either way, FIFA loses. Hand down a real penalty, and they have just hammered their biggest draw. Go easy, and they prove that Argentina plays by a completely different set of rules. And here is the detail that tells you everything you need to know. Not a single key player has apologized. Paredes finally broke his silence with a long, emotional post to the fans. He talked about pride, love, and dying for the shirt, but never mentioned the massive brawl he started. Not once. He wrote, "Thank you, Argentina. I love you today and always. Then he called it an honor to play for the greatest squad in their history. Enzo Fernández, whose red card forced his teammates to play a man down for all of extra time, put out his own message about heartbreak, calling the jersey the single greatest honor of his career. But he said nothing about the ejection that cost them the game. Meanwhile, Romero, who is under investigation for holding that offensive banner, posted about healing and moving forward. They are beautiful, defiant, patriotic words, no doubt, but they are completely silent on the exact behavior that has FIFA's lead investigator ready to hand down bans. It is hard to investigate a massive scandal when the players involved pretend it never even happened. Look, to be totally fair, the emotions right after losing a World Cup final are almost impossible to imagine. Tensions had been simmering for 120 brutal minutes, and Scaloni was the only man in blue and white trying to put out the fire. Suffering a defeat like that hurts in a way most of us cannot even comprehend. Lashing out in the raw seconds after your dream dies is completely human. But there is a huge difference between a quick flash of anger and a full-on brawl with players and coaches throwing punches and putting people in chokeholds, followed by absolute denial. One is forgivable. The other is a pattern, and that pattern is exactly what FIFA's investigators are now being forced to confront. Here is where we stand. Argentina came to this World Cup to defend their title, and they left it defending themselves against a FIFA prosecutor. They lost the championship on the pitch, completely lost their heads off it, and now face two separate FIFA investigations. That means a mountain of potential suspensions for the fight and the banner, plus a fine that might be the absolute least of their worries. The nightmare is only getting worse for them because the fallout is just beginning. And it is worse for FIFA because there is no easy way out. They either punish the most popular team on earth or prove they never will. The trophy went home with Spain, but the disciplinary paperwork went to Argentina. And that mysterious disappearing red card went straight into the file of questions FIFA simply refuses to answer. Where do you stand on this? Should FIFA hand down massive suspensions, or is losing the final painful enough? Let me know your thoughts. When the official prosecutor's report finally drops, we will break down every single suspension and fine. So make sure you stay tuned.